Alright, and we're live.
Excellent! Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd to Know Media podcast. Going out live at 9 o'clock if you're just tuning in on our Wednesday, or possibly, if you're listening on Saturday, 5 o'clock in the future. Hello to you people. My name is Cian Calcone, and with us this week is...
Hey, it's Brin on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Someone had to say it, Cian.
Oh, easy on me. I've just taken back pain medication.
And it's Darragh. Disappointed that we're in the future and we still don't have flying cars.
No.
Maybe we do.
And Mannequin Blue is back from the dead.
Oh.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. And ooh.
We just heard the moment a hamster just attacked Lisa.
Technical difficulties, you guys.
I need to get that sign where it's Gentle Ben from The Simpsons. Ben, no!
literally, yeah, because one of my hamsters is in heat, so the guy is like a mile trying to get to her, and I'm like,
wow. Kevin, no!
Yes, right out of Canto, the hamster queen on Pizza 2.5.
Right, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to make...
Where's the link?
I'm going to make a technical difficulties thing, but it's going to have a picture of Kevin, and it's going to say Kevin, no.
Wait a minute, are we talking Kev or Kevin? Because I'm happy.
Kevin the hamster. Kevin the hamster. Not Kevin.
Oh, no.
Can we have some like Full Metal Alchemist fusion just for convenience sake?
I think it needs to be Kevin, and then it has to be Kev in horror of Kevin.
Okay, leave it with me. I will sketch something.
Yes.
Brilliant. Fantastic. But yeah, guys, it's been a while since we've had a full roster or like more than 3 people on this show. So fair play. So last
play for showing up.
Well, here's the thing. It's last week we got through a lot of season 7 of The Simpsons, and I saw Cape Fear for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Cape Fear.
What do you think?
Wait, first time ever?
Ever? Yeah. So it's
Why
do
did
you
you
think?
think?
Wait, because I just never saw it. I was like, I've already seen this from The Simpsons, and you know what? I saw most of it from The Simpsons. So,
I'm not going to mention the fact that I've also never seen it. We won't talk about that.
I just realised you're talking about the movie and not the Simpsons episode.
No, the movie, the actual movie that it's based on.
Yeah.
What I will say is, if you've seen the episode of The Simpsons, you've pretty much seen the entire film, so you're good. But it is a very
Complete
good
with the
movie.
HMS Pinafore score at the end. Robert De Niro's voice is beautiful.
Oh, it's magical. It's magical. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I actually did this because I watched the movie and then I watched the episode of The Simpsons straight after it to compare, and yeah, I had a good time. So yeah.
So dirty.
So nerdy, it's ridiculous. But
So you're so nerdy.
Is there a character called Mr. Thompson in Cape Fear?
I wish there was.
I think
But,
he's talking
Mr.
to you.
Thompson.
but here's the thing.
Where's the link?
T-shirts by the end of the week.
Literally, that needs to be on a T-shirt.
This is this hamster with like a question mark above his
Where's
head
the
and a
link?
shrug.
That'd be brilliant.
The link was brought to you by Brave.
The Brave browser, exactly. Which takes me to my next topic. So I actually, for the first time ever, right, I actually got a MacBook Air, right,
Oh, boo.
and
Nice
Boo,
stormtrooper.
Darragh.
and I love it so much.
I was saying boo earns.
And I feel
For the benefit of the people listening on the radio, it's covered in lovely Star Wars stickers.
it is. It's covered in lovely Star Wars stickers and also my band logo. So I'm trying to get a few more. But I did not like Macs for ages, and I have a MacBook Pro that I use solely for recording, right? But it lives there. It's and anything audio related, Mac is the best for. But I would always be like, no, I hate MacBooks. Blah, 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 Apple, their toys, etc., etc. Brin, I was wrong. And why?
Sorry, can we edit in like an applause, like a fanfare there?
Just hang on a second, though. Darragh, can you just say that again, please?
Which I
just
was
need you
wrong.
to. Yeah, can you say that again?
I was wrong on this specific occasion that Macs aren't bad.
See,
Totally.
Brin, he said it once, so you can edit it out, like on an infinite loop to your favorite piece of music.
That is your ringtone.
I'm absolutely making a soundboard out of that. That
Now,
is happening.
That's going to be our like intro song for next week's episode.
Now,
I was wrong.
now, see, here's the thing, right? Yeah, fair, but here's the caveat, right? The actual a MacBook. I never buy a MacBook Pro properly. Don't ever buy Macs new, right? You gotta buy them from 2009 to 2012, because then they just get garbage tiers. This, on the other hand, look at the size of it, right? It is smaller than like any other laptop that I have.
You're making this really hard on the radio listeners.
All right, okay, fair. Okay, right.
Look at it.
It's smaller than your. It's thinner than your phone, right? It's super lightweight, but it's extremely powerful. The processor in it is fantastic. The actual hardware and components are great. It boots on in a second. It's brilliant. Now,
Apple, give us money.
No, hold on. This is where the caveat
Be
happens.
brave, sponsor us.
Now, here's the thing, right?
With the Brave Presser.
The caveat is that
Just
the
follow
actual
the link.
OS X is a piece of garbage, right? So Mac's operating systems is atrocious. However, it is a Unix Lite system, so you can still kind of do lots of Linuxy stuff with it. What you can do is you can dual boot, and you can just put Linux on it really quickly, which is fantastic. And also dual booting in, even booting in from a USB key, is actually faster than Windows. So the hardware alone is worth it. It's just a shame that it comes with a toy operating system. So while I was wrong in the hardware sense, still not fully wrong.
So what you're saying is it's the best laptop you can buy on the market that you can turn into a Linux machine.
Exactly. It's the best laptop you can get that you can, with heavy modifications, you can actually fix. And yes, the Brave browser works on Linux, which I've tested.
We're also saying that this isn't even something where we would say it's strictly in an academic sense that you can do this. You can actually just do this, and it's not illegal.
No. It's like
which is wonderful to be able to say.
What you do is you open up the laptop, and then you pop the USB key in, you hit the power button, and then you hit the alt button straight away, and you boot into a beautiful operating system that actually works. I thoroughly recommend a version of Ubuntu.
Oh my god, you said a computer thing, I understand.
There you go.
Yep.
It's that easy.
That is a huge endorsement in and of itself.
Yeah, well, as I said, OS X, it has its it's handy for recording and stuff, but it really is a child's toy, and you can do lots of stuff through terminal, which makes it tolerable. But yeah, lads, a MacBook Air is a good investment. I paid €200 for it. I was happy enough. Do not buy it new. Do not buy one past 2013, and you'll have a good time. And then put Linux on it, and you'll have an even better time. And of course, use the Brave browser. Link in the description below.
Link.
Exactly.
Which distro did you put on?
I put Ubuntu on it, but Fedora's on it now at the moment.
Which one? Fedora.
Yeah.
Nice. Is that 2004 that you put on, or did you go for one of the older LTSs?
I wanted to not blow it up, so I put one of the older ones on it just to kind of see how it runs. But I'm still doing testing. But I tested a rake of OSs on it. Everything except for Windows, obviously, because why would you do that? But
why would you do that to yourself?
Why would you do that? No, it came with Snow Leopard, and then I had, or Snowline or whatever it was called. Had to send it back to Yosemite, and now it was up on Mojave before I put Linux on it. So yeah, you can do a lot with it. I have to say, the actual installation process and OS swapping is a lot quicker than the Windows machine, like a PC. So yeah, it's worth checking out if you're on the fence. It has a lot of an upside, but yeah, don't go out and spend €1,000 on a new Mac, because if you do, you're silly. But if you find one for €200-300, yeah, go for it. Don't give Mac your money. Give me your
sponsor
money.
Us, Mac.
Buy our Mac. Buy our Mac.
But yeah, so as I said, even though I was wrong, I still wasn't really, but I love it. But the shame of pulling this thing out in public, and the shame of having a Mac is something that's hard to get over.
And as you know, as a good with your good Catholic upbringing, Darragh, shame is just a part of life.
Well, that's it. That's exactly what it is. It's just oh man, But I have to say, even before I swapped Linux and I was using or put the partition in, and I was using OS X to actually record stuff. It's really cool, you know. Like you, Katie, you as a sound engineer, you know, you can do a lot of cool programs and stuff that work natively without any issue. You pop in an interface and it works straight away. There's no need for drivers. So there are a lot of advantages, but if you're looking for a high powered machine, you're never going to get that with a Mac natively. But the cool thing is you can put your petition and away you go. You have a real computer. So happy days.
I don't know about you, Lisa and Katie, but I feel very unneeded this episode.
Oh god, yeah. We're like crusty, superfluous third nipple right now.
Well,
That's what when Darragh said about being a sound engineer. I was like, I'm a sound engineer.
well, you did write
We're
your
like when Krusty comes over and he tells the monkey to go wait in the car.
You did write your team. You did write your team music, which is very impressive. But here's the thing.
It's not as impressive when you actually see how I wrote it.
Fair, but still, I like it. It's a good theme. But here's one thing that I wanted to bring up, right? So, Lisa, you dropped a big surprise in our group chat this week. Yeah, it is. I can't believe this. I thought you were taking the piss.
Congratulations!
You've finally seen The Matrix.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, welcome to the world of the real.
Exactly.
Oh,
So my opening question is, how have you never seen The Matrix? It's like people who haven't seen Star Wars.
I'll tell you how Tom Felton isn't in it.
Well, there's that. But as well, to be fair, when The Matrix came out in like '99, I was only 7 or 8.
That didn't stop me.
Didn't stop me either.
Well,
No.
I wouldn't have been going to see it anyway. And then even when I got older, it wasn't a movie that anybody in the house would have liked. They're just not a whole actiony thing. So it was like
fair.
never on VHS or DVD around the house. I think I did see the Animatrix or parts of it at some point at a boyfriend's house at some point. But then when I was 18, our religion teacher said that made us watch The Matrix in class because she said it was like the exact metaphor or used directly Plato's cave theory. So
Yeah, it does.
we had to watch it in religion class, and we only ever saw like bits of it. And you know, when you're down the back of class, you're not paying attention to stuff. It's like 6th year and you have exams and you don't want to watch The Matrix in religion class.
See, here's the
I
thing.
do.
Here's the thing. I would have loved to watch The Matrix in the religion
Yeah.
class. So I don't know what you're getting. Like, we didn't even get a choice. It's like, you know what we did in religion class? We drew stick figures of Lord of the Rings and recreated Helm's Deep. That's what we got. So you were lucky.
How many?
Yeah.
Did you do 3,000 stick figures?
Yeah, we used to get like big A4 sheets and we'd do the whole thing. A
Well,
2-hour religion class.
Why?
What else are you gonna do? I don't
In
know.
fairness, I
How
kind of
did
had
it-
the opposite problem. So, like, growing up, I saw the first Matrix, and then when the second one came out, obviously, like, it was 2 years later, so it would have been like 8 or 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And growing up in a good Christian family, we weren't allowed to watch the second one because there was like a naughty love scene in it.
Oh,
And then by the time the third one came out,
yeah, 2
yeah,
seconds.
but by the time the third one came out, I was old enough to watch it, but so I've actually never seen the second one in full.
To be fair,
Oh.
You're better off.
no,
I would
hold
say.
on.
No,
hold
the
on,
second
hold on.
one's okay.
Hold on. Right, so this brings true. So we have a comment here from once a month. Religion is very different for different people, clearly, but religion class definitely is anyway.
Yeah.
I remember
Oh
like
man, religious education in Ireland is terrible.
no.
Yeah, I think I saw Blade Runner in my religion class.
To be fair, I do have some funny stories which I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, okay.
But,
You tease.
You have to follow the link
follow the but because we were
on the Brave browser.
because we were like the last year that it wasn't on any exams, but I wanted to do it for Leaving Cert because it's like it's super easy. It's literally just philosophy. But so anyway, but the year behind me did do it on a junior cert. I'll tell you the story of the
Sure.
thing that my friends did.
Oh,
It was
okay.
funny. Look, it was what it was. Irish religion education is terrible. I will say, Irish education, full stop, is pretty terrible.
Appalling.
So it's unbelievable, and that's not and that's no disrespect to teachers. That's got to do with they cram everything in for an exam that doesn't mean anything. Particularly when they took away free college, it's like, what are you competing for? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that pivot. I'm available for hiring. I'm actually was planning on fixing my CV this week.
Not you, Kim. Not you. It's not the teacher. It's not the teacher. It's not the teacher's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It is 100%. It is 100% poor curriculum and the focus on leaving cert, which is ridiculous. They need to scrap that.
I want to say something positive.
And in which case, it is the teacher's fault.
Oh, fair enough.
I was a bad teacher. Yeah, no, there's a reason why I only lasted one semester.
Fair enough.
You're a teacher?
Yes.
Oh, God. Tell a story.
I'm not on air.
Fair. Okay, so it's a court case then, so that's fine.
I just don't have the patience to teach children. It's fine.
And that's also why I'm not a teacher.
You need students, not patience.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like, whatever about teaching in colleges and doing stuff there, that's fine. But students, no way. You just can't.
Oh, you just haven't met the right students. I love teaching. It's great crack.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. Well, I remember I had this teacher that would punch walls and throw chairs at people. I'm just like, I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, I remember the same guy threw a dictionary, would throw dictionaries at my friends. So it's just like, different times. Who knew? Like,
practicing for the Battle of Helm's Deep. Clearly,
obviously,
This isn't a brick. This is an oar.
This is an oar.
Darragh, he was just
not a
LARPing.
dictionary.
He was just LARPing at you. That's all that was happening there.
Thunderbolt.
Look, Darragh, just think of it this way. Imagine if for the rest of your life you are somebody's cool teacher. Even if it's just one student. That is like a pride kick you can live off for the rest of your life if you do it well. Like
proud. It's like that bit from Freddy Got
Fingered.
Fingered.
Captain, my
proud.
captain.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't
know, man. Dead Poet Society is a pretty sad story.
Yeah.
So
all those dead poets.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you teach drama and do Pokemon classes.
Fair.
Oh, when I was a teacher and I had to teach all these freaking 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds, it was during the summer of Pokemon Go being really huge, and so we did this thing called it got to a point in the summer where I'm like, these kids don't want to learn, I don't want to teach, a bit like Mojo and Bart. And we did this thing where I was like, okay, let's play Pokemon, where I'd make them crawl around to the ground and I'd just throw footballs at them and be like, I'm catching you, you're Pokemon, and I'm catching you, and they just all would just like crawl around to the floor like Pokemon. I just throw footballs at them.
Lisa, were you guard vetted for this?
Yeah. They loved it though. That's what they wanted to do, because they were crawling around to the floor pretending to be Pokemon.
Well, of course they wanted to do it. Like, I mean, my bloody nephew tried to jump off a 10-foot slide yesterday. It doesn't matter if they want to do it.
It's fine with it.
What I will say is, that's for me. Well, look, that's for 4 or 5-year-olds. Fair enough. But in college I had a tutor during my degree who was so hungover the whole time she'd just sit there and let other people read the book. So
oh yeah.
who has the book? I do. Okay, read the book. And she goes, I'm too hungover today. It's like, well, there you go.
Classy.
So it's you can't just blame the leaving cert, I suppose. It's systemic throughout, where bad teachers and bad curriculum, but it is what
I'm getting the impression I've been working way too hard on this based on the collective experience.
Katie, you should just get other people to read the book for you and just show up hungover. You'd be grand.
I did get Katie to do balloon art to essentially distract from my own teaching in some Halloween camps.
Face painting, wasn't it?
Oh, it was face painting. Sorry.
That was an experience.
Yeah.
So just
one you haven't come back for, but
So just circling back here, right? So we know why Lisa hasn't seen the film, and we all have different experiences with it, right? So obviously, Cian, myself, and Brin have seen it. Katie, listen. The second one isn't as good as the first one, but it has some good moments. The soundtrack for the second and third one is incredible.
The soundtrack, I would go as far as saying the soundtracks for all 3 films are brilliant.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the soundtracks for the second and third films are so good that you should watch the films. Just find the soundtracks and listen to them.
Yeah.
Well, can I redeem myself a little bit and say that I did play Enter the Matrix?
Yeah.
Yes.
Enter the Matrix is really good.
It's great fun.
First exposure to a Windows DOS command line as well, where you can hack and ignore it. That's fun. But what I will say is, the original plan for this was Matrix 1 and then Matrix 2 and 3 to be one movie, and then
you can tell.
Yeah, and then the second Renaissance to be a movie by itself, which is
Yeah.
one of the best parts of the Animatrix. And Warner's were like, no, make more movies. And the Chelsea's were like, okay, we'll make more movies. So it does kind of fall flat, but it's still overall an amazing series.
Can I make a point on the music though? For our first YouTube recommendation of the episode, Sideways does a breakdown of the music score, and it's so meticulous. Like all of the like kind of human themes are like written in like kind of major things, and then all of the machine music is written like using binary and percussion and metal. Like it's actually like the score is like more of a sound design type thing. I know obviously score is sound design, but there's just, especially in the first movie, there's so much detail in the Matrix. Like you come away from it in 2 hours and you just understand everything and the visuals and all that kind of stuff. It's such a brilliant creation.
The first film is one of those things where like, to get media study easy, it's multi-layered.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it, like again, it's one of like it's one of those things I hate saying because it's so pretentious. But this is one of those films where it actually does earn it, and it does earn that kind of description of it, because there's so many different things to take away from it. Yeah, like the soundtrack is like, it's one of the few times where Foley, where you can tell where Foley ends and score begins, which is awesome. And there's only a handful of films I can think of in the last 20 years that have done anything close to that.
Well, like the Matrix as a movie changed the way films were presented. It changed what people thought films could be, and the jump from pre-Matrix to post-Matrix is unbelievable. And that kind of hurts the second and third one, because there's so much expectation and the vision was diluted. But what I will say as well, like the sound design changes because it becomes more video gamey in the second and third one, because you know it's not real. You know, like, but Juno Reactor is the artist that does it, and that's what I listen to when I code. And it's just unbelievable. Like it's perfect music for that kind of setting, you know. But The Matrix 1 suffers from its success, which sucks, and the sequels suffer from it. But here's the thing on that point: Matrix 4 is coming out, right? Which is probably going to do a lot of retconning and fix the series. So that's probably what's going to happen there, and kind of peel back, because you have much more control over. I think
I'd say they're probably going to do like a Rise of Skywalker thing,
Probably,
where
yeah.
it's new, not Rise of Skywalker, whatever the first one is, Force Awakens,
Yeah.
where it's new celebrities, like, you know, like Terminator Genesis, and then Neo will come back and teach the new ones how to do it and all that kind of stuff, because that is an incredibly effective Hollywood formula for rebooting a franchise.
Well, the world lets you do that. That's the thing, you know, because the whole
That's
point,
true. It
you know,
is the kind of repeating cycle is kind of built into it,
yeah,
isn't
like
it?
that's all part of it, you know. And I think there is so much story to tell. What I do have to say is I do have to give big props to Keanu Reeves. Fun fact: I actually dedicated my last thesis to Keanu Reeves with a quote.
Beautiful.
Well, it's with a quote from Johnny Mnemonic, which is my favorite film he's ever done. If you haven't seen Johnny Mnemonic, go watch Johnny Mnemonic. It's unbelievable.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah, go now. I won't even be mad.
Yep.
Johnny Mnemonic is like uber cyberpunk, but it's a Philip K. Dick novel as well. And
which is like basically all the best sci-fi is Philip K. Dick.
Exactly. But what's great about it as well, it's like a lot of the stuff that you would see kind of fleshed out in the Matrix was kind of started there. So it's like Keanu Reeves has the most cyberpunky career ever. It's kind of funny that he's in Cyberpunk 2077, because it's like
I'm sure that isn't a coincidence.
No, it's not. It's like you've earned it. If you look at his filmography, he is the most like cyberpunk actor ever, and he will do movies like this. So it's kind of cool to see this all kind of come full circle. And then, you know, the Matrix gets a lot like, it was like the biggest. I remember being the biggest franchise in the world for like 3 years. And then it was gone.
It was parodied to death. That's partly why. Like, because when I was watching it last night for the first time, I'd seen it be parodied to death on everything, like on sketch shows, then in even The Simpsons, you know, and Bart's handing out all the thigh menus on the door and all that stuff.
Shrek had done it as well. Scary Movie had done it.
Yeah, it felt like, because like you're all like, oh my god, you never saw The Matrix, but by the time it had kind of parodied itself out by the time I got to an age where I may or may not have been interested in it. And it's one of those movies where I was watching it and I'm like, oh sorry, yeah?
Sorry, go on. I'll hold on to it, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I felt like I already knew what it was about because it was so big, it had been parodied so much, I kind of felt like I didn't need to see it.
Like Cape Fear.
That's kind of it. That's kind of it, actually. That's very profound, because it's kind of what I was saying. I wouldn't say it's been parodied. I'd say it became part of society.
It's like so pop culture.
Yeah, like it literally became the reference point for several things. You know,
and if I can, sorry, if I can drive us off the cliff into Star Wars territory for a minute.
What happens after this is on you. The show's finished now. Go on. Okay, go on.
Funnily enough, I was reading sort of a collection of Neil Gaiman short stories. I think it might have been Fragile Things. I know he's got one or two of them. But basically, he was selected to write a short story set in the Matrix. And that reminded me that in between Matrixes 1 and 2, there was so much Star Wars level mass media Matrix stuff. There was the Animatrix, which was a series of short stories. There was the games. Amazing. There was the novels and short stories. And if somehow the Matrix had reloaded and done an Empire Strikes Back, the Matrix could still be going. It was a sudden big explosion of huge interest in the universe. And like Lisa said, it then sort of suddenly collapsed in on itself incredibly quickly.
And that's because the fact that, you know, and just to correct you there a bit, all that mass media stuff happened at the same time. The Wachowskis wanted to build that kind of world. They even launched an MMO.
Oh, okay.
They even launched an MMO, which sadly I didn't have a good computer at the time, so I couldn't do it. But what it wasn't that it collapsed; it's that they had bungled it. The greed of Warner really just were like, it's gone, and kind of killed interest in it, you know?
I think it's one of those things where it was so ahead of its time and it was so innovating that they just didn't know how to market it properly.
That was it.
I think as well, though, like it's one of those things where I remember as soon as I'd seen it, I was just like, well, that has to have a sequel.
Yeah.
You know, because it's weird to think of it being a time when like things getting sequels was not a given.
Yeah,
and you're just going away going, that has to get a sequel.
Yeah,
but see, the thing is, even the disappointment of that, Brin, the disappointment of the sequels, the Animatrix came out and blew everything out of the water.
Yeah.
Oh, it was huge because stuff, even just the style with regards to anime, it wasn't really mainstream. It wasn't something that would have been as popular. So, like, even just watching the regular Matrix, even watching Matrix 1, it was literally, I could just, everything from the big chunky Nokia Blockia cell phone that he's using and the cinematography and everything, I'm like, I could just imagine everybody in the cinema in 99 like completely like freaking out, like, because
like
it's just so, it's just what you said about pre-Matrix and post-Matrix. I completely agree with, because it's just, it's been done now, but before that it was just never done before. Like, it was wild.
Well, even thinking of like there's that, you know, that bit where he's on where Neo's on the ledge where he's trying to escape his office, and the gust of wind blows away his phone and does that slow down, speed up thing. That's like one of the first times that shot was ever done. And then you fast forward like what, 6 years, and 300's doing it every 5
Zack
seconds.
Snyder pilfered that main stick, you know.
But that's, you know, like that's like, I mean, the
product placement.
But see, but see, the thing on that as well, like, remember who directed this, Brin?
Yeah.
The Wachowskis, who took everything that was building up to it, all this mass media, all this cultural reference point, all this stuff from Japan. It even used an anime called Appleseed and Ghost in the Shell as their reference material when they pitched this to Warner.
It also uses the Invisibles.
A
good amount as well by Grant Morrison. And like it's one of those things where like it was like it was basically like the crest of this giant subcultural wave that's what the first Matrix film was in earnest. But as well as that, on top of it, it also was like this, like, I mean, the effects for the time are in like the effects in the cinematography for the time were just completely new. It was like, you know, it's one of those things where like I think from special effects, it's probably one of the biggest special effects events since probably, like, you might argue Jurassic Park, but you'd also probably argue Star Wars.
Yeah.
But then as well, that like in terms of cinematography, you're talking early Spielberg.
Yeah.
Certainly. You know, for like being as much of a revolution, and like before Spielberg, you're talking Orson Welles. So like already you're talking like pretty much like the highest order of like the most important films in terms of like how films are made and how stories are told in it. Like it's
like I would say
it's huge.
I would say The Matrix is probably one of the most important. It's weird, right? It's one of the most important films of all time, one of the biggest franchises of all time, but then it also isn't. But it is.
Because I want to get into a point there, which is that I was watching on Amazon Prime. They have a documentary on the history of superheroes in cinema, and they cite The Matrix as an important source because, in terms of its visual language and in terms of even just the way Neo flies at the end, they said that you wouldn't have Spider-Man and X-Men and all that kind of stuff if The Matrix didn't find a way to make all that visual language work. Like, just look at a superhero movie from 1996, and it's Adam West Batman level. Like, you know,
I would argue that's a bit of a weird point to make because, like, the Matrix was released in 1999. The first X-Men movie came out in 2000. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but if you look at the fights in X-Men 1, it's clunky. The fight in X-Men 1.
Yeah,
absolutely. But it's like I think it took a lot of things. I think it took a lot of films a big time to catch up with The Matrix. But at the same time, like there's still like there were other things that were coming along that were going to be landmarks anyway. Like I mean, Hugo Weaving went from wrapping up on the Matrix to go straight into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and then go to V for Vendetta.
So you know, as well, like it was the same thing with Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen finished X-Men and went straight to Lord of the Rings, which again technologically made huge bounds.
So here's the thing
in terms of what we were seeing.
There's a great documentary on that point, Cian, Brin. And Cian, actually, it's a similar point that we're talking about. It's a great documentary narrated by Keanu Reeves called Side by Side, and it's actually an examination of that. And do you know who's to thank for all those massive leaps in technology?
Who?
Aliens.
Well, close. George Lucas.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you talking about the Revenge of the Sith, kind of animatronic storyboard?
No.
This is in the ILM.
At the same time as all this happened, ILM had pushed the boat out so far, making Phantom Menace and then making Clone Wars. No, sorry, not Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones. Because there are no real clones. They were all digital. They weren't there.
You can tell.
But you have to remember,
you can tell. But again, like this never.
I know. Like, I mean, it's.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I think Weta also made some big pushes as well because they were the first film studio to use Massive as an engine for crowd shots because for the opening bit in the first Lord of the Rings film, you know, there's that big crowd shot where Sauron blows up basically, and everyone falls over. That was done using software called Massive, which can basically just which can make unique animations for tiny models simultaneously.
Wow.
And that was like they used that heavily. There's a bunch of wide angle shots that they use it in. Like there's the bit in
Helm's Deep.
No, what's the name of the like I'm talking specifically for the first film. What was the
Moria?
What was the in Moria? Yeah. There's a bit where they're going. There's a big wide shot where they're going down a bunch of stairs, the Balrog stairs.
Yes.
That was done using Massive as well. And
I remember this being a thing. They had to find. It was like John Sully's hair from Monsters Inc. They had to, with Helm's Deep, they had to find ways to make 3,000 orcs look like they were not in unison. Yeah. Which is mind-boggling to think about in 2002. Like,
but when they found Massive, it solved just about every problem they had. And then they had to spend 3 months trying to find computer-generated fire that looked good. So,
but see, this
nice screensaver.
But see, this is it, right? we were lucky.
I like how the smoke coming out the top of it.
We were lucky in the sense that, you know, computers had reached that point where this could be done, and it was being pushed forward by ILM and others. But again, like, visionary storytellers who had something to say is super important. And every movie that we mentioned there, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix, even Star Wars, the prequels I actually really like. It was because they had a story to tell and were able to use technology to do it. But like, it's crazy to think that it's taken 20 years for The Matrix to kind of roll back around, and we have the fourth one coming out. So I'm excited to see it. But Katie and Lisa, like, what do you guys think? Because you're not like hardcore fans of the series. Like, are you excited to see where it goes, or are you just not care?
Well, now that I've seen the first one, and to be honest, like, I was very pleasantly surprised, because I thought I was just, because I found it for €1 in a charity shop and it was brand new in the wrapper, so I was like, why not? They had it like 3 for €1 on their DVDs, so I got like that and The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey. So I'm like, okay. And it was actually, I was not expecting to like it at all. It was just, you know, the way there's movies you'd kind of tick off your list just to say you'd seen. I love Keanu Reeves. I think Lawrence Fishburne is great Hugo Weaving. I loved Trinity. I thought she was an absolute badass. I spent most of my time watching her and Neo and just yelling, "Shift! Just shift already!" at the screen.
Oh, well, then you definitely going to need to watch the sequel.
You have to watch the sequel, because they do more than shift.
It's
a naughty love scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just, you know what, it was like, because it just was so, now I found it in some ways I could see how progressive it was for the time and how it would have changed cinema viewing experiences. However, in certain ways, it was very dated, and I found that very charming. And I found, because I watched it like 20 years after it came out, I think that's why I liked it. I don't think I would have liked it when it came out, but because it was 20 years later, and I'm like, this is so nostalgic. Look at the size of that Blockia. Oh my God, they think this is the future, wearing like some leather fetish gear and running around in long coats. Like, that's the future. Cyber. I found it very endearing, and I found it enjoyable. I was like Homer watching Twin Peaks, watching it. I have no idea what's going on, but I enjoyed it.
Oh, you need to get to Reloaded if you think the first one's confusing.
I have no idea what happened in it, but I enjoyed watching it, you know, that way.
Listen to me.
It doesn't matter about the fine details. Computers. Guns, it was great.
I'm disappointed that we don't have the future where everyone's walking around like that. All I want is a dystopia where there's Linux terminals everywhere. That's all I want.
Fair. I did have an ex-boyfriend who everybody used to call Neo, and I never knew why, and now I know why, because he looks like Neo. So fair.
On the second one, before you pop in there, Katie, on the second one, there is the most screen-accurate depiction of hacking you'll ever see. Thanks to Trinity. She's actually using a hacking tool in the opening in the Matrix 2. So, fun fact, it's also the background of my phone. So,
no.
Of course it is.
I had one really weird theory about the first Matrix movie. Now, obviously, there's a rake of other movies and a whole like lore by the sense of it. But you know the bit in the movie where they're like, "Follow the white rabbit," and then these really like drug dealery looking people come to his door, and then he goes to the club with them. Yeah. I was like, what if the whole movie didn't happen? And that was just Keanu Reeves getting his drink spiked by his friend to get his $2,000 back, and then he's out there like in a dumpster, like completely tripping out while he's being mugged.
Well, that's
or something, and then Morpheus is just like a homeless man beside him or something, and none of this happened.
Well,
then it turned into John Wick,
like tripping out. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. Well, he would have woke up in his bed, but that's exactly what taking the blue pill would have done.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was like. What if this isn't happening? What if he's like really high in an alley right now because he got drugged and mugged?
Yeah.
That is a lovely detail to mention. Actually, if you ever played not the Enter the Matrix, but I think the PS2 game Path of Neo, it offers you the red pill and the blue pill, and if you take the blue pill, it like he wakes up and you have to play the first 3 levels again.
Yeah,
it punishes you for not taking the red pill, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. Katie, anything you want to say before we move on here?
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say I love the Matrix. Like the fact that I haven't, like I've seen bits of the second one, but the fact that I haven't fully watched it, I need to go back because I love the like even when we played Enter the Matrix, I was like all up in that. I played both storylines and everything just to get like as much as I could from it. So I'm very excited they're bringing it back.
It's so cool. It's one that like you know, it hopefully now they have more control. I think Lana is the one who's directing it now. But it'd be interesting to see
Well,
what they do.
well,
So-
hopefully with Sense8, people will like go, oh, they're this talent, they can do this thing, and it's not a matter of...
It's more that hopefully they won't be able to go, hey, look, Warner, go away. We're going to make the story we want to tell, you know, which I wish you had done the first time around.
The big
Please don't ruin this for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, you're so... Actually, John Wick and Matrix 4 are releasing on the same day.
Oh my
Nice.
god, how am I going to choose?
Why not both?
It's a double bill.
It's a double feature. It's a double feature.
And CyberPunk, probably.
My
Man, I'm still waiting for that to come in. You know, I just can't wait.
my big worry, with not to put not just to pour some cold water over the fire here. My big worry with Matrix 4 is that, again, Warner Brothers have a bad habit when it comes to established IPs of trying to micromanage them into the ground. It's, I mean, a huge part of why The Hobbit was as atrocious as it was because of their meddling. And it's,
I know where you're going with that. You know,
know,
but I think they've already experienced what happens when they meddle, and they're just like, listen, you messed this up 20 years ago. Now, go away. So, hopefully that's the end.
All I have to say to that, Darragh, is Vince McMahon should have learned to stop meddling a long time ago, and he's still doing
But
it.
Vince
So,
McMahon
like,
is a crazy old man who won't go away. So that's different.
unfortunately, if there's one thing we've learned in the last 2 years, it's that there's a lot of crazy old men in Hollywood. So, like,
That's fair.
There's little else by the sounds of it.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Right.
Can I just say one last thing about the Matrix before we move on? I know we talked about it, but like, it's a really good heady movie, like a really good thinking action movie, and I miss that. Like, I mean, there's Inception like 5 or 6 years later, but that's in the paddling pool of like, you know, kind
that's
of
that's in the
weird,
shadow
heady
end of the
concept.
deep water. That's in the shallow end of the deep
compare.
water.
I know, obviously, exactly. Yeah, I know they go way too far in Reloaded with their kind of big philosophical concepts, but like, I really miss that just being a thing that kind of organically existed in movies, in big tentpole franchises. Apart from maybe the odd stray one like Doctor Strange, you'll never get something like that again, really.
Well, again, it's people having something to say, and like, if you actually, there's some good books. It's called Jacking into the Matrix, which is over there, and it breaks down the philosophical arguments.
Follow the link.
Well, I will actually find a link, and I'll
On
send
the
it
Brave
to-
browser.
Which you can use.
One of the
yeah.
things to kind of point out there, though, is that like, these kind of films are, there's this thing that's described for like sitcoms, but it kind of rings true for most genres, where there's like basically a machine that just churns out American sitcoms, and basically like what's coming into it is like is ideas, and of all shapes, all sizes, some good, some bad, some whatever, and this machine just crushes them and goes like, yeah, no, you're just set in a bar, you're just set in a college, you're just set in whatever, and every now and again some idea gets through that without any mangling happening to it, and that's how you end up having, shows like The Office or even Cheers or Friends or whatever that just kind of broke the mold of what a standard sitcom
And they all
was.
and all the crushed ones feature Adam Sandler.
The same is true though in action movies, where like, you know, a lot of like the kind of heady action movies that existed before the Matrix were kind of the only way they could get made is because they had Schwarzenegger starring in.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Yeah.
Like,
You leave Arnold out of this. He's a beautiful Austrian man.
but I'm not saying anything against them. All I'm saying is that like, you didn't see Jean-Claude Van Damme get to be in Total Recall.
There's a reason for that. He's a little diva. he didn't want to play the Predator, and they fired him.
There are about 12 million different reasons why Jean-Claude Van Damme is not in good films.
Yeah, that's his own fault. He's a little diva.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Bring back Dolph Lundgren.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh. Johnny Mnemonic. Dolph Lundgren plays a wandering priest in it who kills augmented people. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's a dolphin doctor called Spider. No, Spider.
Is he a doctor who is a dolphin or who heals dolphins?
Sorry,
is he a spider?
sorry. I'm so excited that I mixed it up. So there's a doctor played by the lead singer of Black Flag called Spider, right?
Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins, yeah.
Wait,
and
wait,
then
wait,
hold on,
no,
let me finish.
wait,
Let me
wait.
finish. Let me
Henry
finish.
Dolph, what?
Let me finish. And then there's a dolphin who's able to talk to computers.
Yeah.
Fungi,
Also
top
played by
man.
Spider.
It's amazing. Best movie ever.
Yeah, but
Pack, Brave.
12 stars.
yeah.
Link.
this is the thing though, is that like any kind of film that's like that, where it's like, I mean, again, like Matrix is one of the few films that you can watch where it'll afterwards should make you question your reality.
Yeah.
And
We're all in the Matrix.
but how
yeah.
how many films are there that put you in that position? Like, how many works of fiction put you in that position?
All
Like-
of the Barbie movies.
But that's
It's
for a
worth
different,
pointing
but
out
that is for a very
Matrix
different
came out
reason.
before-
So
Like, the Matrix came out before the internet as we know it. Now we are currently streaming or airing on Phoenix FM or on Spotify or whatever on the internet. So when a Matrix set in 2021 or whatever comes out, how much more plugged into the Matrix could we be? Like, you know,
more
like...
holes, more holes.
More holes.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, we've plugged so much into ourselves that I feel like waking
that's-
up from the
well,
goo,
that's-
you're kind of like,
that's-
this seems legit.
Well, that's probably what it's
Yeah.
going to be about.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Matrix 4, you know, you pay for your cinema ticket, you go in, you sit down, and when the screen opens up,
goo.
it's just like you looking at the room you're sitting in.
That's very twisty.
It just comes back and it's a mirror
I
of
think,
the screen.
You know what? Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think because myself and Katie haven't seen Matrix 2 and you guys have, we should like do a watch along thing where you like guide us through the Matrix 2.
Yes, please. I
Yeah.
love Matrix 2. I want my VHS copy of it.
That's fair. I love Matrix 2 so much that I had it on PSP UMD 3 times.
Oh, I only had the PSP of Matrix 1.
Yeah.
I
But,
watched it once, and that was enough.
I remember
Wow.
I went to go see it, and the only ticket I could get was right up, you know, the cinema where you're right up
Yeah.
at the screen,
Yeah,
and you're
Yeah.
just like looking up like that for what, 2 hours?
something like 2 hours.
Yeah. It was, I didn't hate it. I never saw why people hated on it so much. I had a great L time.
I
So-
had a great. The way I put it is, I thought the fight scene and the car chase were great,
the car chase is
I-
legitimately fantastic.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, though, the car chase also goes on for like 20 minutes.
But you have you have vampire ghosts.
I
Yeah.
think that's the only part I
they're
have
great.
actually seen is
Yeah,
the car
it's just-
chase.
I just felt like the fight scene and the big fight scene against the
In the chateau.
Yeah, that was cool too. The
I can't-
Chateau.
was that the first? Was that the second film or was it the third film?
Chateau, second film.
Yeah.
Chateau's the second film. Yeah.
It was
Up
the
and
one,
down the
it was-
stairs,
it was,
like.
it was no. The one I'm thinking of is the one in the apartment complex, or like. at
Oh,
least
that's
in
the first one.
Yeah,
No, the one where it's the multiple Smiths.
that's the second one.
Oh, in
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
street.
but that-
yeah, let's
that
not
one goes-
let's not spoil too much for Lisa.
Yeah.
But what I'm
If she
saying
hasn't
is
seen
that
it.
Yeah,
that
I already feel like I've seen the movie now.
No, you have not. You have not.
No.
you
But
have not.
actually, that's a good segue though. So, like,
Yeah.
just so we're
What
not
I'm saying
spoiling
is it
things.
goes on for forever is the point I'm making, and I just found that I got bored too often watching the film, so I was just like, I'm not watching this again.
Well, here's the thing.
So-
So, Matrix 4 is directed by Lana Wachowski, screenplay by the same team as before. Cinematography looks to be the same. It's released by Warner Brothers and it's going to be out April 1st, 2022. Oh, they've moved it. So, yeah, it looks like they've moved John Wick as well. So, it won't be next year. It'll be the year before or the year after.
Kind of makes sense, to
Yeah, it
be
makes
fair.
sense with everything going
Considering
on.
things.
Yeah. They were, because they were filming in San Francisco, so it looks like it's going to take place there. But they had to shut down. So here's where we go. So on March 16th, production of the film was halted due to the pandemic, and filming has resumed now at the moment. So that's cool. But it looks like it's going to be pushed back. So that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, so far it's starring Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jaden Pinkett Smith, Lambert Wilson, Neil Patrick Harris, and others. I'm assuming more is going to come
Neil
back.
Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, I hope he's like a Matrixy smart ass character, like the Merovingian or something like that.
Merovingian has come back already.
Oh, I know, but that kind of character, you know.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't give him a musical number.
I could
Oh
work.
no, I hope they give him
It could
a
work.
number.
All right, guys. Well, we're 45 minutes in, so I think we're not going to hit our Simpsons review, so we might have to carry that over.
Can we just keep
do the
talking about the
Simpsons?
Matrix?
Well, what I will say is I do want to continue on because look, there's some great cyberpunk movies that I want to actually recommend to people. One is a film.
Okay.
One is a film called Nirvana, and it stars Christopher Lambert, who played Highlander, and it's great if you like The Matrix. That's a movie to watch. Johnny Mnemonic, we've already said. Attila Battle Angel, you know, everyone's probably seen that. It's a great film.
Oh yeah.
Blade Runner 1 and 2, excellent, fantastic movies. You know, there's just a rake of them. Just Google cyberpunk films, and if you like The Matrix, this whole thing is just, you'll have a great time. There's a great deep dive to do it. But we might do an anime, a cyberpunk movie thing in the future, because
Oh yes.
watch them, right?
Definitely.
You've actually hit upon a really good point there, Darragh, because I saw the movie of Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson a year or two ago, and it wasn't the worst thing ever. But
I liked
like,
it. I liked
it. I mean, it's fine for what it is, but because I'd seen The Matrix so many times, I'd kind of thought, what is even the point of doing a live action? Like, The Matrix was the live action Ghost in the Shell, you know?
There's a great anime called Appleseed, if you guys haven't seen that, and
I haven't, no.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They kind of took a lot of the mechanical stuff, you know, like the squids and stuff like that to come in. That's all from Appleseed. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why that isn't live action, because people just be like, this is literally just The Matrix. Yeah. But, yeah, no, like, it's a great genre that I have a lot of passion for. And it just so happens that Christopher Lambert just is in loads of them, same with Keanu Reeves. The two of them are just in all the cyberpunk movies for some reason. I don't know why.
Was there an explosion of cyberpunk after The Matrix came out?
No, it was actually
really.
before. It was actually before. Like the 90s, from like 95 to like to The Matrix. There's loads of these underground movies that came out, like Hackers.
You're right, Hackers was in the 90s as well.
Yeah, Hackers in 1995.
Well, that's because of the whole, they were building up to the whole Y2K thing.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
Like that's
The dot-com crash definitely affected the mainstream appeal of cyberpunk as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too.
So, like, there was multiple factors for why cyberpunk stopped being palatable, but like the Y2K scare is absolutely a big part of it.
Yeah. And it's a shame. I think we're coming back around to it now, where, you know, we went past it, so we jumped past that, then we went super into fantasy, and then we've worked back around now to the futuristic stuff with the appeal of stuff like, ironically, it went from high fantasy with The Witcher 3 to cyberpunk directly. So I think once that comes out, that's really, people are going to be like, oh well, we're going to be super back into it. So everything is cyclical, you know. It seems to be 20 years. But before we move away from this, I am going to say I'm playing Ghost of what's it, Tsushima. Tsushima. It's fantastic, but that's all I can say so far. I can't talk too much about it right now because it would be unfair. Get it? It's the best game you'll play all year. But that's all I'm going to say so far. If you have a PS4, there's no reason for you not to have it. And yeah, look, in the time we have left, guys, did you know that San Diego Comic-Con happened this month?
What?
Yeah, I heard
They
about
did an
that.
online thing, right?
They did an online thing, yeah. It literally happened last weekend, and the turnout was terrible, which is weird.
Oh.
And there was nothing.
No, wait. I assumed was it not just an online thing then? No.
Yeah, it was, but the turnout was still terrible. Apparently, nobody went. There was no announcements from Marvel, no announcements from DC, no announcements from any people you'd expect.
I did hear there was a Picard panel. Yeah, okay, this is coming back to me now. Yeah.
Star Wars cancelled their own celebrations. So literally all you got was the Picard panel, a few other panels, and then the actual big one was the New Mutants. So that was it. I didn't even realise it happened.
New Mutants is coming out.
Yeah.
Like, forget Cyberpunk 77. New Mutants has been on the slate since like 2013.
It's made. Just sitting there.
But like, in fairness, with everything that's going on in the States right now, last weekend was probably the worst time to be trying to put on a convention.
Yeah.
But see, the weird thing about it is, you would think that an online thing, like even we did an online panel and convention, and that was gas cracking, great turnout. This I would have expected more, even for the big Hall H panels. People just had no interest worldwide. It's
I
unbelievable.
think
It's
people's
weird.
interests are elsewhere now. I think it's a level of diversion that kind of falls a bit flat, particularly because, like Katie said, with America and what's going on, I think everyone's attention is just not divertible to frivolities right now.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
For me, I would say that there's a big element of that, all right, but it's also cons aren't really super fun without the convention, if that makes sense. It's like
No, it's
like
the people
You
that
do need the crowd in the room, don't you? When
Yeah.
like someone walks
Yeah.
on stage and they go ballistic for 5.
But
Like,
it's the same thing that's happening with wrestling at the moment. Wrestling is really weird without a crowd.
So weird without a
It's so
crowd.
weird. Yeah, it's like watching a weird stage play. No, literally, it really is. And
it'd
the
be
ratings
like-
are
sexual
collapsing.
stage play.
Yeah. It'd be like watching stand-up comedy with no audience.
Yeah, and that's
That's,
just
that's
going-
a lot of stand up, though, to be fair.
Brin,
No,
Darragh, what is social distance wrestling? I'm very curious.
but there was one who did a parody of it where they were just doing moves, but like at a distance.
At a distance, yeah.
But basically, the way
The Invisible Man has never had more bookings
Exactly.
than he has during this.
exactly. But the impact and the reason why these are connected is because right now there's no sports really, right, as such, and particularly during the height of this thing, there was no sports. So WWE just kept going because they gave a lot of money to keep going, and wrestling kept going.
Think of the ratings.
But you would think that ratings have never been lower.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just don't want to watch it. So I think the same thing's happening here, where people are like, "Oh, a convention," but it doesn't have the crack. You're not walking around the rooms. You're not talking to people. You're not interacting. You're not
You don't
seeing the
get to dress
cosplayers.
up.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not getting
Yeah.
the cosplayers. You're not having
Oh,
that
yeah.
buzz of a
You don't get the
convention.
smell of the sweat and the Red Bull.
Oh,
and the
listen.
shame.
Here's one thing that I don't. Here's one thing
that.
that I don't miss. 3 o'clock, Dublin City Comic Con on a Saturday, walking up the stairs, and that bang, that
Yeah.
smell where you're just like,
That's
oh my
how
god.
you know you're home.
You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm dying. I'm dying.
Yeah.
I don't miss that, but everything else.
Yeah.
Everything
Like,
else.
when it comes to the dressing up part, like it's a lot sadder dressing up and just being on camera in your room.
Drinking
Speaking
a
from
cocktail.
personal experience, Brin.
Well, Brin, I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you're an e-girl, then, you know,
Well, you know, but you know,
yeah. If it's
Like
just
that-
for a convention,
there's
that's
n-
kind of sad, but...
there's
Should I ask
there's
what
very
that
few
is?
people. You don't need to know what e-girls are, Cian. Don't worry your pretty little head about it.
Oh, sweet summer child.
So naive.
Sweet
Yes.
summer child.
I'm being patronised too, but I'll take the compliments.
Oh, no. No. Actually, don't Google it, because then we
Yeah.
won't be able to get you
No,
back.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll put you on
It'll
the
be
list.
like when Quagmire, when he discovers there's porn on the internet now.
Yeah.
It'll be like, where's Cian? It's just gone. It's just gone. But yeah, no,
Cian is homeless now because of e-girls.
oh man. But yeah, like that's the kind of, you know, I think that really does speak volumes, that even, you know, San Diego Comic-Con can't draw in
Yeah.
this, but it's weird.
Just on a side note here, because I'm just thumbing through an article on what was actually at Comic-Con, and speaking of Cyberpunk, I did notice that there's going to be a Brave New World TV show coming out,
Yeah.
and oh man, I want it to be good because Grant Morrison's on the creative team, and I'm pretty sure that is the comic book Grant Morrison. Yeah, it is. It is the comic book Grant Morrison who's on the team, which means that he probably would be good, but it's also on NBC, who don't really do very good dramas. So
I wonder if it would be like a Last of Us 2 situation where people just weren't in, even no matter how good it was, people just weren't in the humor for it. Like, I tried to watch the oh my goodness, I feel terrible, the Man in the High Castle, which is really, really good, but considering what it's about, and I'm trying not to get us demonetized, I was like, I get enough of this in the real world. I just can't take this on at the moment. Like,
Well, look, you know, it's just the thing about it is, when stuff like this is made, you don't have to watch it away. You know, I think something like that released now is in poor taste. Last of Us 2 is in poor taste, where you're like, the world is already a dystopian nightmare. We don't need more dystopian nightmares.
Well, like the problem with The Last of Us 2, from what I could gather from, because I don't have a PlayStation, so it's what I could gather from people I know, was that they added a photo mechanic to it. So people were just messing around and taking funny pictures rather than actually playing the game.
Well,
Really? This is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah, I've heard it described as a misery simulator.
yeah.
Which
Not what I'm. Yeah. Not what I'm looking
Me
for.
and Lisa work in bookshops. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
But
guys.
Ian, how many
would-
times have you been asked for HP 304?
Oh no, Costa and magazines is where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
like
All right, guys.
Printer ink for me.
All right, guys. So we're reaching the end of the time here. So let's wrap this show on the road. So I'm going to start with you, Brin.
so pending calamities, I should have my pilot for Tech Throwdown or Tech Takeover finally out next week. Could expect that probably Tuesday. But we'll see what happens. It should be out next Tuesday.
And Cian.
New episode of the Game Corner either coming out this Friday or has just come out yesterday, depending on when you're listening. But even if you're listening on Saturday, will there be another one this Friday? Also, a quick plug for the new series, if you're a Doctor Who fan, of Missy that came out last week. It is awesome. It features such plots as her taking over a secondary school and trying to kind of change the entire Victorian future. Mad bonkers stuff. If you're into Doctor Who, check it out. It's fantastic.
Okay. And Katie.
Yeah, so I've been away for a while, but if you've been following Doing It for the Exposure, we came back last week and we have another episode coming out this week, which will be, if you're listening right now, it's tomorrow. If you're listening on Saturday, it's 2 days ago.
Okay. And Lisa.
Yeah, so the Straight Outta Canto podcast radio show, your number one show for nerd culture, nightmare fuel and nostalgia, has weekly episodes now as part of our Travel Size Summer Series, where we get along our friends to join us and talk about spooky horror things, spooky nerd things. This week, even if you're listening on the Saturday, it was our friend DJ Mac Patches from America, who's a horror radio host. He came and talked to us about, I think, more horror movies than I actually thought you could physically fit into a 30-minute conversation. And next week's episode is going to feature an American J-horror expert. So that's Straight Outta Canto, if you're into that kind of thing.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. And yeah, if Shudder want to sponsor us, go for it. We'll totally take it to watch my horror movie. But yeah, guys, all joking aside, you're listening to Nerd to Know Media. Thanks for listening to us. We're here every Wednesday, 9 p.m. And of course on Phoenix 92.5 FM at 5 p.m. on Saturdays. But if you're listening to us there, go over to Nerd to Know Media and subscribe, because that's where you're able to get all the shows that you just heard. A show pretty much every single day and a video. Join us live and all that good stuff. Guys, from my entire team, we will talk to you next week here on Nerd to Know Media. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.